the Unit 8. The Unit 8 is about rights and responsibilities. And we start to talk about what is a right and what is a responsibility. And I made a presentation to explain you what is a right and what is a responsibility. Let's start. What is the difference between rights and responsibilities? We will talk about this, but first let's start to know what is one and what is the other. What is a responsibility? It's a duty or obligation to satisfactorily perform or complete a task assigned by someone or created by one's promise or circumstances that one must fulfill and which has a consequence penalty for failure. Our responsibility is something that someone gave to us. For example, when we were kids, our responsibilities are study, brush our teeth, eat all the food. Those are responsibilities. When we grow up, the responsibilities change. That things start to be part of our life and the responsibilities are bigger. For example, you have the responsibility to study, to complete your activities, to practice at home, and my responsibility is teach you English, explain you the classes, and that's a responsibility. If you don't do your responsibility, the person who create the consequence is your or are your parents, okay? Is your mom or dad. In my case, I have another kind of person making the consequences about my job, my life, or other things, okay? The responsibility, we need to combine these responsibilities to enjoy benefits like money, like things like that. But the rights are different because a right is something a person which people think should not be taken away. You can quick of your rights. It is a rule about what a person is allowed to do or have. When we are talking, for example, of human rights, the human rights are included in our life when we born. We can quick of them. It's part of our life. A right is different from a privilege. This is not a privilege. It's something that we have, which is something that must be earned. Is that I was explaining. The right is part of our life. We don't need to earn it, okay? And rights may be put into laws so they have a legal protection. The government or another spaces, for example, international spaces could give you legal protection if you feel a violation of your rights. That is common, that is not correct to be common, but it's common that some organizations fight for the rights of another people. For example, the colored people rights, the human rights in general, or the kids' rights. Those are so important in our lives. That is the differences between the rights and responsibilities. Let's start. Let me stop to share. And let's start with the Unit 8 Unit 8 at the book. In the book, we can find rights and responsibilities. We can find some rules. For example, please turn off your cell phone before entering. No outside food for drink is allowed. These are some rules that you can find in your normal life. In the next class, I will explain you the modal verb to create a rule, an obligation, an advice that is part of the evaluation of this unit. First of all, before finish, we will talk about the vocabulary that is public places. The public places are zoo, parking lot, swimming pool, city hall, hospital, library, market, taxi stand, movie theater, and post office. In another unit, I couldn't remember which one, but in another unit, we talk about these places. But now we are going to use to make rules of these places. In the part number 1, you can put the name of the place with the clue. For example, you can live here, you can borrow a DVD here, you can meet the mayor here, you can leave your car here. I think the only one that we don't see is the city hall. Is the only that we don't see, and is the place where the mayor do the work in there. Well, that's it, kids. We will see you in the next class that we are going to talk about the modal verbs. Goodbye.